Welcome to 10 Minutes. In this video, you're going to learn everything you need to know about what to expect in the exam. First questions first. What do I need to pass? Your RE for key individuals consists of 80 multiple choice questions to be completed in 2.5 hours. This means you'll need 65% to pass or 52 right answers. RE5 for representatives consists of 50 multiple choice questions. Those have to be completed in 2 hours. You will need 66% to pass or 33 right answers. Let's have a look at the exam format. Questions are multiple choice with 4 options marked A, B, C, and D to choose from. Questions are randomly selected, so 2 people may write the same exam but not receive the same questions. RE is a closed book exam and there are no limits on the number of attempts that you are allowed to take. The cost of the exam is R1,226 VAT inclusive. How will the exam questions look? You'll find 4 levels of questions in the exam. They are 1. Knowledge, 2. Comprehension, 3. Application, and 4. Analysis. Knowledge questions test your recall of factual knowledge, essentially testing what you learned. Comprehension tests your understanding and interpretation of factual knowledge and concepts. In an application question, you're going to be given a real-life situation to test whether you can apply your factual knowledge to the situation. An analysis question is going to test your ability to analyze factual knowledge as presented in a situation and to decide on the best course of action to take. Now that we know about the 4 levels of questions, how many easier level 1 knowledge questions are there going to be? And how many difficult level 4 analysis questions are there going to be? Let's start with RE for key individuals. Knowledge questions make up 27% or 21 questions in the exam. Comprehension questions make up 39% or 32 questions in the exam. Application questions make up 22% or 18 questions in the exam. Analysis questions make up only 12% or 9 questions in the exam. Do you remember at the start we said you needed 52 right answers to pass your RE1? Get all the level 1 and 2 questions right and you are already there. Let's look at RE5 for representatives. Knowledge questions make up 30% or 15 questions in the exam. Comprehension questions make up 40% or 20 questions in the exam. Application questions make up 20% or 10 questions in the exam. Analysis questions make up only 10% or 5 questions in the exam. Remember at the start for RE5 we said you needed 33 right answers to pass? Get all the level 1 and 2 questions right and here you are already in a pass mark. Next up, styles of questions. Before we get to some examples, there are 6 different styles of questions that can be asked. Direct closed questions is where you must simply answer by choosing the correct option. An incomplete sentence question requires that you complete the sentence by choosing the correct option. You need to carefully look out for the 3rd style of question, namely the negative question. Here you need to choose what is wrong, false, or incorrect. You need to read the questions very carefully in the exam to spot this one and that it's actually asking for something that is wrong. Most, best, least questions can be tricky as it requires you to find the option that is most applicable or best describe what is required or something that is least correct. Roman numeral questions require of you to choose more than one correct option. And finally, sequencing questions wants you to list options in the correct sequence or order. Let's put all the information together in some practical examples. Here is an example of a knowledge question that's been asked in the direct style. Within how many days must a financial services provider inform the registrar of the debarment of its representatives? Options range from 14 days, 5 days, 30 days, 15 days. This is an easy direct question, which after studying you will know is 15 days. Next up, an example of a comprehension question asked in the direct style. Jane Chetty is a sole proprietor and has no representatives. What are the requirements regarding the compliance function of the FSP? A. Jane must appoint an external compliance officer. B. Jane doesn't need to appoint a compliance officer. C. Jane must appoint an internal compliance officer. Or D. Jane must be appointed as the compliance officer. Once you've completed your studies, you'll know that authorized FSPs with more than one key individual or one or more representatives must appoint a compliance officer. Jane is a sole proprietor with no representatives. Therefore, she does not need to appoint a compliance officer. B is therefore your right answer. Next up, an example of an application question asked in a negative style. Jean Hill, the representative of DCB Investments, must advise a client that is retiring on specific investments. Which of the following aspects is Jean not obliged to disclose about a recommended financial product unless inquired about by the client? A. The risk of possible capital loss in future due to fluctuations in the market. B. Information and graphs to illustrate the product's performance at intervals over a period of time. C. Any income and other relevant tax issues of a material nature that need to be considered. Or D. Any material illustrations about the product provided by the product supplier. When reading the question, the big one to take note of is the not obliged unless inquired about by the client. So essentially, you're looking for the odd one out. What do you have to disclose, and would you only need to bring to the client's attention should they specifically ask about it? From your studies on disclosure of information on financial services, you'll know which disclosures are required, and you'll know that material terms need to be disclosed. Let's just look at the question and see if we can find the odd one out. A talks about risk to capital loss. Surely this is a big one that must be disclosed. Options C and D all mention material disclosures which need to be made. B is therefore the only one that you need to provide when requested by the client. B is therefore your right answer. The last example is one of an analysis question asked with both Roman numeral and sequencing style. I'm going to give you a minute to look at how tricky these questions can look in the exam. We're not going to look at the detail of this question as we cover the varying time periods for different events in a separate video in our course. This example, however, gives you a great idea of what an analysis question can look like. If you've enjoyed this quick explanation of everything you need to know about the exam, then our 10-minute RE courses are going to be just right for you. Get in contact with us on 10minutes.co.za. We'd love to hear from you.